Okay, welcome back everybody. We're going to do another tomato review today on this tomato right here, and it's called the Dwarf Awesome Tomato. It's a dwarf variety from the Dwarf Tomato Project, and it's another one of those super winners, and it's a fantastic variety. It makes these absolutely enormous beefsteak tomatoes. It doesn't always do that. If the season is really kind of, because I grew these last year, and I got some that were close to this size, but not as big. This year particularly happened to be a tomato year, and so I'm ending up with these enormous tomatoes, but this is the true potential of this variety, so it's a good example this year. So let's take a look at it. That's what it looks like on the inside. Man, that's so nice. I like that little red blushing on the inside. That is really nice. That's a real nice touch. And you can see these tomatoes are absolutely honking. They're beautiful, nice and thick. They got some weight on them. Let's turn on the scale and see what the scale says. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, let that 0. And about 9.5 ounces. That's pretty good. That's a nice sized tomato. 9 ounces. And 7.5 ounces. So, they can range anywhere between, say 6 ounces to 10 ounces, something like that. So, let's do our bricks. This knife is razor sharp too, guys. Whew, I could shave with this thing. It's a nice knife. I really like that knife. Sorry about that. I wanted to just take the seeds out of that. And squeeze it right from get the juice right from the rind. It's really holding the moisture very well. It doesn't want to come out really. About 6.5 on the bricks. That's really good for a tomato, guys. That's very, very nice. Okay, let's give that a go. Okay, let's get right into the numbers. Right out the gate, that was like a 28 on the sweetness. That thing was sweet, and it was very nice. That's the high end of the perfect number of sweetness. For a tomato this size to have the sweetness of a 28, that is an incredible combination between the sweetness and the tangy. The tangy was about a 29-30, so it was almost perfectly balanced. The tangy was a very smooth type of tanginess. It wasn't biting or sharp or anything. It was very smooth, and the aftertaste of this tomato, I swear to God, this tomato is going to get a very high rating. It's probably going to be up there with the number ones. The flavor of this tomato is absolutely unbelievable. And this is one of the varieties that I can't keep in stock on my website, and now I know why. It makes these unbelievably delicious tasting tomatoes. I mean, this is probably one of the best tomatoes so far this year I'm eating. This thing is absolutely off the chart as far as the flavor. That aftertaste keeps like screaming for me to take another bite. In fact, with these tomatoes later, I was going to make sauce with them. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to cut them up into wedges, and I'm just going to salt them. And I'm just going to sit out there and have maybe a Corona and salt those tomatoes, and I'm just going to eat them very slowly and enjoy these tomatoes just like that, because that's what these kind of tomatoes are. They are that good, guys. This is like a gourmet type flavor, not even joking. Okay, so we said 28 on the sweetness. I might even push that up into 28.5, but tangy, like I say, you're about a 28, 29, and the tangy was just above that a little bit, and it's just nice. And as far as the tomato flavor goes, I'm going to put that on a 7. It was right up there. Again, you want that tomato flavor to be consistent from the beginning when you eat the tomato, when you first start eating it, all the way to the aftertaste, and that delicious type of tanginess that kind of lingers around the back of your tongue. That is what we savor, and that's very important, that whole transition happens. That's all part of the intensity range that I talk about here. And so this is a 7. This is pretty high. When I tell you 7, that's pretty high. I don't think I've ever rated a tomato at like a 9 or a 10. 7 is high, guys. Believe me when I tell you, it's a good, solid flavor that lasts while you eat it, and you can really taste the tomato on this one. It's incredible flavor on this. Moisture, we're going to put that about a 6.5 to 7. It was good on the moisture side. It was actually perfect. It was a little more moist than I say. Normally, I tell you moisture level should be around 6, 6.5, somewhere in there. That's that Goldilocks zone for moisture. This was a little bit wetter than that, but it was perfect with this flavor. You wanted that wet experience, so it's definitely worth every inch of that. There was no tarty or sour. There were no undertones with it. Texture, I'm going to put at a 10. That's an absolutely perfect texture on this tomato, guys. Absolutely 100% perfect. I mean, this thing was like an exotic type of a fruit that tastes like a tomato. That's basically what the best way I get. It was like an unbelievable. It was almost like eating a sliver of I want to say mango, but I know mangoes can be fibery. Almost like a muskmelon type of flesh experience. It was just a completely. It was very, very good. I could see why they call it the Dwarf Awesome, because this tomato is absolutely awesome. So yeah, we're going 10 on that texture. It's very rare that I do that, by the way. Production, I'm gonna actually go pretty high in the production for this thing. This thing put out a ton of tomatoes, this size, and some, and as the plant's gotten, it's older and it's starting to wear down. There's a lot of the regular type of slicer size tomatoes, not really so many more of these beefsteaks, but I got quite a few of these big ones off of that plant, plus all the other smaller ones. So production, I'm also going to put up there between like a 7.5 and an 8. Production was very, very good. I was very pleased with the production for such a small plant. And the the season that it came in it came in early. So I mean, I'm eating tomatoes rock star right now, not at the end of the year. So yeah, that's a high rating. Skins were perfect. I'm going to put that at probably about a 7.5, 8 as well, because you don't even know you're eating a skin. There's no thick skin to spit out, or it's just you put the piece in your mouth, you chew it up, it's gone. There's nothing left. There's no skins or things like that. Seeds, I'm probably going to put at a number 5, which is probably about average, I would imagine. That's probably about the average for seeds, so there's not too much. I might even drop it a little bit, because as you can see, the more meat you see in the center, the lower I tend to run that number. And that's because, obviously, it's taking away quite a few of the seeds. So I might actually bring that down to like a 4.5. It's just, in general, for seeds, it's a little bit lower than I probably was expecting, actually. So yeah, 4.5 on that. And so what kind of a season is this? This is a mid-season variety. And as far as the plant, it's a dwarf, so the plants only get to around between 36 and 48 inches, so 3 to 4 feet tall, and pretty much they're done. But you can't second crop those. You can cut them short. I show you how to do that in another video, and bring those shoots. You can bring them back up from the base part of it, and you can get a second harvest out of it. You're not going to be making tomatoes as big as this, but it'll make tomatoes anyway towards the end part of the year. So I show you in another video how to do that. So how do I rate this tomato from a 1 being the highest and 10 being the lowest? This is an absolutely number 1. Absolute. When I say absolute number 1, this is probably going to be the winner for the year. This flavor of this tomato is unlike anything I've been eating this year. All the other tomatoes are good, but this tomato, I swear, is probably the best tasting, and everything else that I've just described here. This tomato outranks almost everything there. This is an absolute must-grow tomato. It is absolutely that good of a tomato. I am absolutely amazed on how good it was this year. Last year it wasn't. I don't think I experienced it that good. This year was unbelievable. Again, honking tomatoes. You got to grow them in them 5-gallon pails like you see I got out there. You know what I mean? See those 5-gallon pails right out there? That's how you got to grow these dwarf varieties, because they need to be able to be moved around, and sometimes you got to find the right spot. And if you get that, though, you can see like I got plants in different areas of my driveway, and that's because they grew better in those areas. Just moving my plant over from one side of the driveway to the other made a huge difference as far as the way the plant was responding. So yeah, sometimes it's better to just put them in the pails and move them around, and as you do that, you'll start to notice the plant bumps, and so sometimes you need to do that. That's how I did it. But yeah, incredible tomatoes, guys. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's your tomato review for the Dwarf Awesome. What I'll do is I'll leave links in the description below. You can go and visit the website if you want to buy seeds for it, and you can also read about it on the website or in the description below. And hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.